Hello everyone, my name is Saksham Dikshit and this is my channel Pentest Diaries. So today I'll make another video of the same series, which is Solidity programming series itself, and in this I'll try to explain you about the Enum. So it's nothing exactly we like the penetration type of things which we are doing it enumeration. It's a type of Enum and why we are utilizing that. So I'll try to cover everything in this video itself. We'll start with the theory part first and then I'll proceed further with the practical section for it and explain you about it, what's the need of the Enum itself and why we required that. Okay, so we'll start with that itself, with the theory part first. So Enum are, or I can say the enumerations, is a solidity or a way to create a user defined data types with a finite set of possible values. Enums are useful when you need to represent a set of discrete, distinct value typically used to define state or categories. Okay, so in a short, if I'll just tell you about it, like why we required the Enum. So Enum is a user-defined data types. So we have a predefined data types which we have already discussed in our previous videos itself. But if I'm talking about the user-defined data types, then I can have to use the Enum itself is a keyword just to get it defined a user-defined data types itself. Okay, and you can declare a Enum using a Enum keyword itself. So Enum is a keyword which you have to use it to define a user-defined data types. You can access the Enum values using a dot notation itself. So wherever you have to utilize a data types which you define under the Enum, which you can utilize it inside of the contract only using a dot notation itself. If we're talking about later itself, Enum are commonly used in smart contract to represent different states of a contract or to define options to certain parameters. They provide a clear and readable way to work with a predefined set of values itself. So whatever the set of value which you're trying to get it defined, you can make it clear, you can make it with a user defined data type itself, which we can create it using Enum itself. So Enum is a straightforward keyword which we have to use it, by which we can make it a user defined data types inside the contract, smart contract itself. Okay, now we move to the next section for it, which we call it as a practical section, where we have to see the actual code related to that, and then we can able to understand how exactly we can utilize the Enum based user defined data types inside of a smart contracts, how we can utilize that. Okay, let me go to the system now just to showcase you how we can do that. So proceeding further with that, if we just try to see the code of the Enum base itself. So in this case, I'll explain you about it, how to make that code for it. So this is a syntax which I have already built it from my side. This is the actual code for it. I'll explain each and every section for it, how exactly this will work for us. Okay, so we'll start with that itself. So this is a straightforward syntax which we have to get it defined. Okay, the contract name is Enum. Now this is the syntax which we have to get it defined. We are not giving any straight variable straightforward over here itself. So I'll explain you about with the Enum itself. So Enum is the keyword which we have to use it to define the user defined data types. Now we have to give the name of it, like Enum, what's the name of the whole section for it. So that is status, we have to get it defined. Now these are the subsections for it which we have to define as a data types inside of it. Okay, so when we try to call it, we have to use it status.pending, status.shipped, status.accepted, status.rejected, status.cancel. So that's coming under that itself. So that is the that is, I can say that master itself, and we are talking about these are the slaves itself of it. So whenever we want to call any slave itself, we just have to call the master and then master dot the slave itself. So that's it, just example I'm just giving. It's nothing like taking with this Enum itself a slave or master. There is nothing like a concept over here itself. I'm just giving example how to call those user defined data types inside of it, smart contract. Now if we go further with that, and this is the variable I have defined it from my side, and this a user defined data type which I have defined it over here itself. Now I have defined one of the variable which I'll just make it as public, and the name of the variable I've just given as status. There is a difference between this is a status which is the name of the Enum itself, and this is the status is a variable name. Okay, so don't be confused with that. So I have defined one of the data type over here itself, and these are the categories for it. Now if I'll go ahead further with that, if I'll just talk about one of the function itself. So first function which we are talking about is a function where we have to see the get status. Okay, get status and return value is the status one. Okay, now the return value is also status itself. These things you can able to understand once I'll just compile the code and come deploy for you, so that you can able to see the actual understanding on it. Right now I'm just explaining you about the function itself, so just go through it. If you're not able to understand, just run the video once again, or just see that when I'm just compiling this code and deployed that, so that you can able to see each and every sections for it. I'll try to explore all the possibilities, whatever the possibilities available in this code itself. Okay, then we are trying to use a set status. So wheresoever we want to set some value itself, then that we are using a set status over there itself. The value we are just defining it from our side and try to set it for the status. Okay, and over here the value of the status, whatever the value by default we have it, and whatever the value we are defining over here itself, it gets changed accordingly when we go for the set status. Now we go to the reject section. So once we are talking about the reject section, it will go to this section. So now it will go to status.reject, and reject is on 0, 1, 2, 3. So the value will become 3. So status value will become 3 itself, is as per the pointer itself. So it's 3, then in that case it's become a 3. Okay, now if I'm talking about the next section for it, so the reset is one other thing which we have to use it over here itself. When we are clicking on the reset, everything becomes 0 itself, and it will delete the all whatever the status is itself, and the default value which is 0 which is at this time of the execution of this code we are having it for the status, the same value get assigned back to this. So once we click on reset, everything becomes 0 itself, and once again we have to go it further with that. So let me compile the code for you, and then I'll explain you each and every section while I'm just going through with this execution. So now you can able to see this is the actual status for it. So initially if I'll just try to see the status value is 0. Okay, nothing is getting assigned to it. If I'll click on get status, I can able to see the 0 only. Okay, if I'll just try to define it as 2 over here, set status, then in that case what the value of get status, it become 2, and now the status value become 2 itself. Okay, as we have defined it this, and we are getting both the ways, we are getting 2 only. So wheresoever we are returning a value of status, we are getting is as it is the same value which we have defined it by the get status. If I try to click on reset, and if I try to check the value once again, so I can see it's 3. So over here itself you can see instead of the enum the user data type itself, the rejected is coming at 3. So that was the reason I'm getting the value as 3, as we have defined status.rejected over here itself. So the value of status.rejected become 3, as it's a pointed 3. Then in that case status equal to 3. When we try to click after the rejected one, then in that case a status get status become 3, and the status also become 3 itself. Okay, so now if I talk about the reset, if I click on the reset, this one, then in that case everything is flush away now. So everything is become 0 once again. So that's all about this function itself. We'll be just trying to understand each and every sections for it, user defined data type itself. Now I'll go to the next code. So in case of another code, it's a straightforward syntax we are using it, but little bit twist over here itself. I'll just let you know what exactly the twist is it. So this, the only worry about it, why it's a one liner itself. Either we can put it in such a way, or we can put it in that way also. Just put it that enter. So which we have defined it over here. This is also a way to get it defined, and this is also a way we can put it in one line also. So over here itself I have defined everything in one line. Okay, now if we go ahead further with that, using this as a user defined data type, we have to create one of the user u1 equal to user.allowed. So user.allowed means 0. By default we have 0 over here itself. Now this is the state variable we are defining over here itself, which is an unsigned state variable, and lottery value become 1000. Now we have defined two functions. So the first function is a owner function. When we click on the owner, go inside of the owner function, there is a condition, if and else condition. So only the if condition is over, there is something like a else over here. So we just use a if. Over there itself, u1, whatever the user defined variable, u1 equal to user.allowed. Okay, so it's just trying to check the condition whether it's equal to user.allowed or not. If this is true, then the lottery value becomes 0. Okay, now if I'm talking about the next function, which is a change owner, then in that case user1 equal to user.not allowed. So it means it's 2. Okay, if I'll click on the change owner and I'll try to get it access, then in that case the value become 1. So that was a reason it's become 1, and then in that case whenever we try to call u1, we are just getting a value as 1 only. So let me deploy this code for you and just explain you once again after deployed. Okay, so once we deployed this and see over here itself, so initially we'll try to see the value of u1, it's 0. It's 0 as it's pointing to user.allowed. Okay, if I try to check the value of the lottery, it's 1000 by default. Now if I'll click on the owner, and now if I'll try to see the value of lottery, it becomes 0 as this is successful, and the lottery become the value of the lottery becomes 0. Now if I'll try to see the value of u1, is still be 0 only, as we have not changed anything inside of it. If I'll click on the change owner, and if I'll try to see the value of u1, once again it's become 1, as this is assigned by user defined data type itself, and not allowed is on second number. So that was a reason over here itself u1 equal to become 1, and over here itself instead of 0 we are seeing 1 only, the value is 1. Okay, so that's all about the stuff we just want to get it covered in this video itself. I hope you are able to understand the user defined data type itself, what's the difference between our data types which is predefined one inside of the Solidity, and how we can create a customized user data type itself. I try my best to get it covered all the possibilities for it with the code itself and even the theory part itself. I'll provide the whole things and code about it in my blog, on my blog also, and even through the GitHub I'll upload the document which I have prepared for it. So I have you will get the whole details about it, what exactly the enumeration. Still, if you're not able to understand, please let me know in the comment section of this video. I'll try to make another video for it just to explain you more things about it if it's not clear to you. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel. Thank you so much once again. Take care. Bye bye.